Hey everyone, welcome to another Scott's RPG review. Got a book came in, it's been out for a while, but I just got a copy of it and it's been gotten a lot of attention. And it's Shadowdark. Shadowdark is a medieval fantasy RPG designed to be lightweight and easy to run. The source book is a one big source book. It's about 300 pages thick, 316 pages long. Yeah, 316 pages long. And so I'm going to talk about it, what I think it's good for, what I think it's maybe not so good for, and generally what I think about it. Okay, so Shadowdark is a medieval fantasy, magic, sword and sorcery, all that kind of stuff, RPG, which focuses on very fast, easy to run stuff. It's not incredibly lightweight, but it is pretty lightweight. It's kind of funny given all the number of tables that are in there. One of the big overlying themes of it is the dark. When things get dark, things get bad really, really fast. So that's the idea behind the game. I would not call it a typical medieval fantasy RPG, but certainly that's what it's designed for. The book is hardcover. It's not an 8.5 by 10, not a big hardcover book, but the smaller ones seem to be becoming increasingly popular. Free League Publishing does a lot of them, like with Dragonbane and Mjorkborg and Pirateborg and stuff. And it's very well organized. It starts off with a 10-page, here's what Shadowdark is about, all the stuff if you've ever RPG'd before, all the stuff you kind of expect in books these days. And it goes immediately into character creation, which I really like. A lot of books these days, like I was reading the Star Trek books, and there's 150 pages of background before you even get into character creation. This gets right into character creation. Character creation is pretty typical of what you'd see. You've got stats, classes, you have background alignment. You do have an interesting thing called deities, where you have to pick a deity. Classes have titles, so your level is a title. You have languages, gear, all the kind of stuff you'd expect. You level up characters, all that kind of stuff. It has options for level 1 characters like you'd see in kind of D&D-esque kind of things. And you also have the option for level 0 characters, which is what you see in DCC, Dungeon Crawl Classics, and Zweihander, where you actually start with a character with no class, very little skills. You run them through a short adventure, see which ones. You typically design 2 or 3 of them. You run them through an adventure, see which one survives, and that one that survives, the one you pick, is the one you pick your class and you proceed with. So that level 0 idea. I kind of like it, but you have to have players that are prepared to have characters die when you do that level 0. So you got the character section, and then you have magic in it. You have priest magic, you have a priest class, and you have a wizard class. And they're pretty much what you expect. Priests pray to their divine being for stuff. Wizards do the arcane stuff. What I like about the system is that it's pretty easy to determine whether a spell works or not. And if it critically fails, called a mishap, bad things happen. In particular, in most cases, if you have a mishap, you can't cast that spell again until you rest, pray to your god, something. You have to do something in order to get that spell back to casting. But lots and lots of spells. They have 5 levels of spells, which is pretty good to start out with. And they have a tiering system for when you get spells. Really easy to use spell system. I really like that. Then they get into gameplay, checks, luck, all that kind of stuff, how turns work, rounds work, all the kind of stuff you'd expect. Then they got a section on GMs. And this is probably the single biggest section. Single biggest section, which is GMing, game mastering. Because it's got 87 on basic GM stuff, then another 80 pages on monsters, and then another 50 pages on treasures. So, why is a GM section so big? And that's what gives this game some interesting ideas, and also some things which I'm probably less likely to play it other than others. And it just happens to be my style. There are lots and lots of tables in this book. Random encounter tables, random location tables, table after table after table after table. And it's designed so, as a GM, I don't necessarily have to build everything before the players hit the table. I can do rolls along the way and build the adventure as it goes, which is kind of cool. Not my particular style. I tend to be much more of a narrative storytelling style rather than a random encounter style. But for people that just want to get at the table and do hack and slash and kill the big baddies and all that kind of stuff, this is a really good system for that. If you want to do dungeon crawling, this is a great system because you don't even have to have it. You can randomly generate your maps, all that kind of stuff. Lots of good treasures. It's got 50 pages of treasures, some good monsters, the ability to generate new monsters, all the kind of stuff I'd expect in that you see in a good core book. There are 3 magazines that have come out for it as well. I bought the complete set. There were 3 magazines that come out for it with additional information, and there's a lot of other stuff. It's getting a lot of attention. There's a lot of stuff on Drive-Thru RPG. So, what do I think? I think of what I call the small book. Excuse me while I itch my ear. What I call small book games. These are games that are not in the big hardbound books, but are in these smaller format books that, I think A5 or whatever they call it, which is about 5 by 8. Yeah, 5 by 8. It's probably one of the best 5 by 8 RPGs I've seen out there, and I've looked at a lot of them. There are some issues with them that I have, and I'll talk about those in other ones. But it's easy to read, easy to understand. You can get into it running right away. There's actually a Quick Start GM guide and a Quick Start Player guide that you can download, I think, for free. And so, if you like dungeon crawl medieval fantasy, this is definitely a game I'd be looking at, particularly as a GM, but even as a player, because I think it fills that niche really, really well, that dungeon crawl RPG model. If you're narrative style, where you want to tell good stories and develop intricate plots and campaigns and stuff, I don't think this is good. And someone's going to come back and yell at me about that, I'm sure. I don't think it's as good for that. But dungeon crawling, great to go. Narrative, long campaign theme type stuff, not so much. And that's Shadowdark, the RPG.